when someone asks me if I believe in ghosts, like, I'm like, I mean, what else could it be, right? Like, I told
Yeah.
my husband the story this week, and I'm like, it's one of those things where it's like, unless there's just some random dude walking in our house every once in a while.
Yeah. Ryan, what do we love?
We love ghost stories.
And what do we have?
We have people with ghost stories.
So what are we going to do?
We're going to listen to those ghost stories.
Let's get spooky.
Let's get spooky.
This is a straight up ghost story. I wouldn't even say it's like a haunting, really. But I made believers out of my mom and me. So growing up, we lived in a really small house. It was like 1,200 square feet. And there were 5 of us. So we were always kind of on top of each other.
Five people in 1,200. Yeah, you guys were a close family.
Yeah. So the house was built in 1955, and it was in northern Ohio, and it's all farmland where I live. There was a dairy farm across the street, and so it's kind of like our house, and then all this farmland, and then there was like the closest house was probably, well, I don't know, maybe a mile down the road. We don't really know a lot about the people that live in the house before us, and we moved in there in 1990. And my parents sold the house in 2013, and it was demolished pretty shortly after they moved out. So one day I was probably like 15, 16, getting ready for work. No one else was in the house.
Where did you work at 15 and 16?
So my best friend, her family owns a restaurant. So I would come in and we would bus tables and, make salads and
do whatever.
We were the 2 annoying kids in the back who were like working, right?
Gotcha.
So I'm about to jump in the shower. I look in the mirror, and when you're standing in the bathroom at our house, it's a very small house. So there's one bathroom, first floor. When you look in the mirror, you'd see kind of the dining room, living room, you know what I mean? And I look in the mirror and I literally see this man looking at me. And he looked just as afraid of me as I was of him. Like he had this like look of shock on his face. And I remember I slammed the door and locked the door. I don't know what I thought I was going to do. I mean, it was like, and he just looked like a regular person though. It wasn't like an apparition or like, there was nothing like.
It wasn't like, ooh.
Yeah, no, there was nothing like, I mean, he looked terrified of me.
That's my version of a ghost, by the way.
Yeah, like he wasn't like floating, and there was nothing weird. So I remember like, I took a shower and then I immediately went outside. Like I didn't want to be in the house because there's no one else. And this was like before cell phones, right? So it's not like I could text someone or call someone and be like, holy crap. Like I just, and so I sat outside until I had to leave for work. I went to work, whatever, came home. And then a couple of days later, I kind of mentioned it to my mom and dad, like, just like, have you ever seen anything in the house? Like, because I sound like I'm crazy, right? And so it's not like I live in like a super populated area where there's going to be like this chance of someone walking in our house.
Yeah.
So my mom kind of looks at me funny and she was like, I do see something here every once in a while. And I was like, really? And I was like, don't say anymore. I was like, sit down on the other side of the room with a pad of paper.
Oh, you're smart. Like, this is the best way to do it. This is the best way to do it.
Yeah. And so my dad is like, you guys are crazy. Like, because my mom and I have always like, we're really close. So we've always been kind of like goofy like this.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, sit down, write what you see, and I'll write what I see. And I'm like, and then we'll hand them to dad and he can read them out loud. And so we're like, okay.
God,
so
this is amazing.
All I wrote was like, he had dark hair, dark beard, and he had like worn bib overalls and no shirt on. And so my mom's writing her thing. We give the pads of paper to my dad, and my dad starts cracking up and he's like, you guys are hilarious. And we're like, my mom and I are looking at each other like, what do you mean? And sure enough, my mom wrote dark hair, dark beard, and she sometimes either sees him in overalls or sometimes a dark gray suit. And so we were like, my dad to this day thinks that my mom and I somehow played a joke on him, but it was no joke.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, it was crazy. I mean, we were like, this is nuts. And neither one of us ever felt afraid of him. It was never like because he always looked afraid too. It was weird. It was like, and it was like a split second where we would see him and then he would be gone, like.
It wasn't threatening. It didn't feel threatening.
It wasn't at all. No, not at all. Yeah, it was super weird. And she had seen him a lot more than me. Like she had been seeing him like a lot.
That's
And
the
I
that's
only
the
saw
most
him.
mom thing in the whole world. Like she's been haunted this whole time, but just keep it to
Right.
herself.
She hasn't said anything because
Yeah,
she was
she's
like,
just like, hey.
yeah. Well, she was like, I don't want to freak anybody. You know, she's like, whatever, like, you know, and I was like, she's like, but now when you said that, I was like, I have to tell you, like, I see the same thing. And so we would only see him in the bathroom mirror. It was like when we were looking, she would only see him in the bathroom mirror too.
Oh, she also only saw him in the bathroom mirror?
Yeah. And it would only
Wow.
be like in the living room, like that area of the living room, dining room. So who
Wow.
knows? I don't know if, who knows? I get goosebumps talking about it. I don't know if he lived in the house before, or maybe he.
Did you ever research that or try to? No.
Wow.
We live in a super, super small town, so I don't even know. I mean, I don't even know how I would, but
Yeah,
Yeah.
wow.
we will.
Yeah.
We will, and we can.
Yeah, we'll do the research. We'll figure it out.
So the house has been demolished since then, and
Yeah.
a new house is there now. And I often wonder if those people see him.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like I would love to like call the people that live there now and say like, do you ever see?
That'd be
Hey, don't
so
wanna-
interesting.
Don't want
Be
to
like,
bother you, but
Take this piece of paper and sit at the other end of the table, and
Yeah.
we need to now. Tell me, this is a shot in the dark, but is there any chance you guys saved those pieces of paper you wrote?
No.
Oh, that would have been
It
so
was so
great.
long ago. Yeah.
Yeah.
No. But I mean, my dad really does think to this day that we were just.
He's like, you guys were
yeah.
just pulling
He has to think that though. That's just so you can sleep at night. Like that's
Yeah.
That's
He's
the
like-
move of a dad. The dad has to be like, look, this is shenanigans and no one has time for it.
Yeah, because you know what? He's like, I don't have time to worry about overalls Johnny like showing up in my mirror.
Yeah.
It is,
But I
it
mean,
is refreshing to hear about a ghost that's not in Victorian garb. That's kind of
Yeah.
nice. Yeah.
This guy's like a farmer, but occasionally dapper and going to church.
yeah. Well, my mom had this theory that he died and he was buried in this suit. Like that's what my mom always used to think.
That just
like,
gave me crazy goosebumps. What a great.
So she was like, I wonder if like he like in his like day to day
That's
he was
really-
a farmer, right? He'd have overalls on and hang
Yeah.
out, and like
When he
the only
died,
time
he was
you wore a suit
buried.
back then was when you were being buried, right? So
Yeah.
That's
Wow.
wild. What a great story. And you just to you've never seen anything else in your life like that, and you haven't like no other like ghosts, quote unquote, and you've never seen that guy other than that one time?
yeah, I only I mean, I would see him occasionally. Like, I mean, it just became so you just start to
Normal?
Yeah, it didn't even bother me. I know that sounds crazy, but he didn't seem scary though.
Yeah.
Right.
Like he never made things move, or there were never any kind of like sounds or things that you know, like that kind of stuff. It was almost like he would flash over into this world for a second and be just as afraid of me as I was of him.
Yeah.
Right.
And go back. You know what I mean? Like it was
Yeah.
that kind of feeling.
Wow.
Oh my gosh, I want to know
That's so
who
interesting.
he is. I want to know who he is. That's
Yeah.
great. That's
I don't.
perfect.
I don't want to know
That's
anything.
perfect.
That's exactly the amount that I need to know.
I want to know everything. That's great, Heidi. That's great.
I can't believe you guys
perfect.
did the drawing. Like that's so like two separate pieces of
Because I
paper.
was
That's so
like-
smart.
I don't want to hear anything. I don't want to make it. No one is
Right.
going to believe us if we don't have some kind of like,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
yeah.
that's so great. Well,
So
thank you
cool.
for taking the time out of your Mother's Day weekend to
I
talk
know.
to us. That's like
Yeah.
honestly, it's nice, and I hope you have a great Mother's Day.
Thank you.
And enjoy your kids.
I will. I had to do this because Matt, you were my instructor at Improv Boston, Improv Asylum.
Oh
had to-
my gosh!
Yeah. So when you posted that, I was like, oh, I gotta rate you.
I need more. I appreciate it so much. We keep looking for
Yes.
people to come on the show, and it's been really great. And I'm like, oh man, I need to like reach out to every former student who has stories. People must
Yeah.
have stories.
Yeah. I have a friend here who grew up in a house that was a part of the Underground Railroad.
Wow.
And
boy.
they used to hear things all the time. I mean, like quintessential, like crazy ghost things. So I'll see if she.
Oh
Yeah. Ask
my
her.
gosh, that would be
We would love it.
amazing.
Yeah.
It'd be amazing.
Yeah, her house is crazy.
Do you teach any little improv games to your children? You passing it down?
You know, I do sometimes, and I think it annoys them. At some point, I feel like it's funny and fun, but right
Yeah.
now it's not.
Right now they're like, stop it, mom.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Stop it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not interested.
Well, because
could-
they're full of questions, and then when I answer it with a question, I don't think
Yeah.
it's as funny
Yeah.
as I do.
Scare bones for that. Again, just because she was saying like it didn't feel threatening, but there's something about the way she told the story that felt very real, and giving her such great credit for having the brains to say, before you say anything, let's explain it on different pieces of paper. I wish that's the type of move that like everybody should do in those situations, instead of leading each other to like come to a
just a
agreement of what they saw.
It's a thing you would think about like later on and be like, we should have done that. And the fact that she
Yeah.
did it is so awesome.
It's awesome. And she was like 16.
Yeah, I know. Oh my God. The best.
16. 8 even.
Yep. I'm going to go 8.4. The mom corroborated the
Yep.
paper thing, seeing it multiple times. Like I love
It's
the
good.
specificity of like a suit and overalls, like
Yeah.
and the theory that it was what he was buried in. Oh my God.
I would love to, if we do ever talk to her mother to get some information and the address of the house, and actually I think it'd be really pretty simple to kind of go back and look through some like records.
Yeah.
I mean, you can do it all online and look at the records and be like, who lived here before?
Yeah.
If it's a house that was built in 50, she said 55 or
55?
something.
Yeah.
I mean, not too many families live there, or if you find what it was built over.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's it.
Let's do it.